Good day, good day, good day, good day. It's the dawn. It's Rella Dawn, man. I'm here with the jailhouse lawyer. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know what episode I'm on. I'm probably like on 12 or something like that. But I'm here, man. And I got a guy that's in the federal system. It's my dude. He had contacted me. He was like, "Yo, won't you explain 1922G?" I laughed because 1922G has been plaguing a lot of us brothers. Plaguing a lot of us brothers because 1922G is like the possession of a firearm for those who already been convicted to a felon who, during sentencing, you was already told that, now that you are being sentenced as a convicted felon, that you cannot carry a firearm. And a lot of people forget about this. A lot of people, get out of jail and just be so happy to get out of jail that they forget that, they was told that because they was convicted of the crime they was convicted of, that they cannot carry a firearm. Yes. And eventually it gets real nasty, because most guys are used to just being in the state jurisdiction. So being in the state jurisdiction, you're not used to the feds come picking it up and coming to with this 922G, which is spanking people all over the United States. For me particularly, I vicariously help a lot of people. When I say vicariously, meaning like I don't carry guns anyway, so that's not my thing, right? But my thing is more about helping others fight their situations and learning how to, deal with these situations, get out these situations. And since I can't put myself in that situation, I actually, pick it up, to be honest with you. I actually pick up their case and I do their work and, I beat it, and it's a lot of things to it, man. But a felon in possession of firearms, which is federal, is a federal law prohibits certain individuals from possessing firearms and ammunition. This includes individuals who have been convicted of a crime punishable by imprisonment from a term exceeding 1 year. Felon. 18 U.S.C. 922G is the primary federal statute addressing this issue. The key element is the person must be a felon. This means the person convicted of a crime punishable by imprisonment is more than 1 year. State convictions generally quantify. Possession, this can mean actual physical possession or constructive possession, having dominion and control over the firearm. A firearm is a definition of under federal law is specific and includes certain types of weapons. Sentencing and pre-warnings. Sentencing guidelines, federal sentencing guidelines play a significant role in determining the sentences of a felon in possession of a firearm. These guidelines consider various factors including the nature of the offense and the defendant's criminal history and other relevant circumstances. Plea agreement. Often cases are resolved through plea agreement between the prosecution and the offense. These agreements can significantly impact the sentencing. Notice of charge. Defendant must be informed of the charges against them. Notice of charge. Got to be notified of it. Right to counsel. Understanding the law. While defendant has the right to counsel, his inability to read or understand the law is generally not a valid defense on itself. That is wrong. The legal system operates on the principles that individuals are presumed to know the law. That is why having a lawyer explain the law is so important. This is what I'm saying. We constantly get attacked a lot, you know what I'm saying? Constantly. And they have a presumption that you already know the law, which is impossible because there's so much different jurisdictions. Each jurisdiction has different laws and it has different practices. So it's almost impossible for us to either be on that level to be able to fight it on that level when we don't even know, what jurisdiction it is. And then when we find a jurisdiction, we have to find it. State versus federal charges. A felon in possession of a firearm could be charged under state or federal law or both. The laws and procedures can vary. Specific facts matter. The details of each case are unique. The information provided there are general in outcome, and any specific case depends on particular facts. So this is, I be building on this, man. Like I be kicking it, it's like, because I know what I'm doing, you know what I mean? And it's like, it's kind of hard to say that you can be convicted or not in these situations because they'll tell you that you can be convicted, but I'm telling you can't be convicted. And the reason why I'm saying you can't be convicted is because most people are illiterate when it comes to the law. They don't understand it. Even if you know how to spell your name, even if you know how to, your birth date, you have the basic knowledges of life that could, spell your name out, shit like that. Don't mean that you are qualified to understand the law or even comprehend the law. You know what I'm saying? So I brought this up because this is how I fought it. Mental health defenses. Mental health conditions like PTSD can be relevant in some legal contexts, but successfully using them as a defense is often challenging. Expert testimony is usually required, and the defense must establish a clear link between the conditions and the alleged offense. Literacy and legal responsibility. The legal system generally operates on a principle that individuals are presumed to know the law. While this must seem harsh, it's a fundamental principle. Difficulties with literacy do not automatically excuse someone from the law's requirement. This underscores the importance of legal representation to explain complex legal matters to clients in an understandable way. Key considerations. Due process. Defendant have due process right, including the right to a fair trial, the right to attorney, and the right to present a defense. These rights are essential in cases involving 922G and other criminal charges. So basically, if your literacy is very low, how could you understand that when you're getting sentenced for selling drugs or getting sentenced for assaulting somebody, and they saying that you're getting sentenced to a felony, they saying that now you're a convicted felon, you are unable to carry a pistol. Yes, you can't carry a pistol, even though in America the Second Amendment is to carry firearms, right? But see, maybe this could fall under discrimination also, because if the Constitution say that we could carry firearms, our Second Amendment to carry our firearm, why do we need a license to carry a firearm? How could you get 5 years for carrying a pistol without a license? But the Constitution says it's our Second Amendment, the right to bear arms. So when you start breaking all this down, right, you come to the understanding that it's like a double talk. Right, you know what I mean? One minute they saying to you that, yeah, you can carry firearms. You're American. Another minute saying, well, you sold drugs or you punched JoJo in the face. So since you did that, you are unable to carry a firearm. Then, if you get caught with the firearm and, you be like, damn, I'm about to go to the state jail, right? What end up happening is you'll end up getting charged with a federal crime, which then becomes a 922G. And it's nothing you can really say, right? If you get caught with a firearm and you're already a convicted felon and the feds pick you up and bring you in their jurisdiction. Because once they bring you into that jurisdiction, it's like, yo, you got caught with having a firearm. You're a convicted felon. It's already going to get your ass spanked, right? So what I'm going to do is teach y'all how I beat the case. All right. There's a distinction between state and federal laws, especially concerning 922G. It is a crucial difference that is significantly impacting a case. Here's a breakdown of the key distinctions. Jurisdiction. Federal 922G. This applies when a firearm possession, the connection is the interstate commerce. So what is interstate commerce? Interstate commerce is the commercial aspects of the states, 50 states. So when states are being crossed, every time you cross a state, implicates it to be federal. So when you cross a state and you're doing a crime, it's no longer state now, because when you cross the state lines into a different state, it becomes federal. I done read gun cases where a gun might have been manufactured in Australia, and then it got pushed to Virginia through the manufacturer, and then the manufacturer in Virginia might sold to a pawn shop in Indiana. You know what I'm saying? And then the pawn shop in Indiana might have got burglarized. And then some young brothers might have got the pistol, right? But when they get caught with the pistol, they taking them all the way back to Australia, because that's where the gun was manufactured from when it came, and it crossed state lines, government lines, and they actually trailed the gun from wherever it came from all the way to the pawn shop until it got burglarized and stolen. So that's how this has become federal, because of that. State laws in each state has its own laws regarding firearm possession, including restrictions on who can possess firearms. These laws apply when a firearm possession is solely within the state's border and doesn't involve interstate commerce. So as long as you get caught with a pistol in your state, and the pistol is from your state, then you don't have no federal case to worry about. But if the pistol is stolen from another state, then it becomes a federal case. The federal definition of firearm is specific may not perfectly align with state definitions. State may have their own definitions of what constitutes a firearm, which includes certain types of weapons not covered by federal law or vice versa. For penalties. Federal 922G penalties violating federal firearm laws can be significant, including lengthy prison sentences. State laws penalties for violating state firearm laws are dependent on the state and specific offense. Enforcement. Federal 922G enforced by federal agencies like the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms and Explosives, ATF. State laws enforced by state and law enforcement agencies. Double jeopardy. It is possible to be prosecuted by the same conduct in both federal and state court without violating double jeopardy. This means a person could be potentially face separate charges and penalties under both federal and state law this is the double whammy. It's like they take turns on you. It's like, you violated us on a state, but we didn't like you. We just didn't like you. You're different. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick it up in the feds also. And we're going to double whammy you. We're going to make you do time in the state. You're going to get 2 felonies. We're going to charge you in the state. Then we're going to charge you in the feds also. Choice of law. Depending on the circumstances, a person might be charged under either federal or state law, or potentially both. This can affect the penalties, the legal process, and the available defense. Federal sentencing guidelines are different from state sentencing guidelines, which significantly impact the length of a legal sentence. The specific facts of a case and the applicable law of federal or state will shape the legal strategies employed by the defense. It's crucial to remember that firearm laws are complex and very significant in every jurisdiction. The information is generally knowledge and should not be considered legal advice. It should be considered legal advice, because most people ain't going to give you no legal advice. And if you start spitting some of this stuff inside the courtroom, you will find out that it's legal advice, because they're going to have to listen to it like it's legal. It is what it is. Everybody's so scared to say, I have the legal advice or the legal juice. You got to go to somebody who is licensed, who don't even know what they're talking about, but is going to charge you $20,000 to $40,000 and take all your money. So I'm here to tell you this. I read a case where a Mexican dude went to like one of them shooting ranges. So this is for people who don't know. If you have a felony conviction, you don't belong in a shooting range, because now you're around guns and you're a convicted felon, and that will violate 922G. Cause you know you practicing and you just shooting this. So you're not supposed to be around guns. That's like all the homies that be riding around with pistols in their car. And you got your homies in the car with you. You know, I done met some guys that be like, yo, I can't go nowhere without it, but I be let me out the car. They like, oh, nah, we need this shit. We can't be driving around here without no pistol. But I'm like, yo, let me out the car. Because some people feel like they have to ride around with it. They have to be strapped at all moments. But if you really, really live this life, then it's impossible for you to be strapped all moments because most likely you already have a felon. And a convicted felon cannot carry no strap. So you automatically putting yourself into a situation where it's guaranteed that you're going to end up in prison. So in the case that I was reading, the Mexican brother, he couldn't read it right. He's from Mexico. And he beat the case because he couldn't read. Couldn't read nor write. And majority of times when guys go to the feds, they be having these public defenders. And the public defenders is running these guys through there like a car assembly. You know what I'm saying? Like, they's running them through. They're like, yo, this dude's, he jamped up, he need fixing. You know what I'm saying? And you know, majority of the dudes that go to the feds, you know, your first time, your first walk, most likely you don't get like 10. You do 8 out of 10 or whatever. And if you got multiple felons, they don't say 20. That's why most people don't go to trial. And the feds, as soon as you go through, they already have the threat for you. They're like, yo, you better take this 10. Yeah, you better take this 20. Or your next move is going to be 40. So a lot of people cop out. I think the federal rates, it's like 95% or something like that, or 97%. You know, the rate of them catching convictions, because most people just cop out. They don't take them to trial. They don't even try them. Who to blame? You know what I'm saying? These people are really serious at what they do. You know what I mean? Like, they don't play no games. They will convict you easily. They don't even pick up cases unless the case, it has legal standard to it. You know what I'm saying? If they see anything wrong with a case, they're not going to pick it up at all. You know? But I say this to say that if you can't read or write, it's impossible for you to even understand when you're getting sentences for felon, and then the judge say to you, oh, you can't get caught with no firearm from here on out. How could a person remember that? He's just hoping to get out of jail for the first case that he's in there for. But they telling you for just for future reference, if you get caught with a pistol and you already a convicted felon, that's when the 922G going to raise an ugly head, and then the jurisdiction going to change and you end up in the feds. And most of these guys is not federal material, so what end up happening is, it's like they end up in the federal system due to the fact because they already convicted felons and they got a pistol on them, you know what I mean? Which allows them to graduate and go up to the feds. So the best ways to fight this is to prove PTSD. I mean that you got shot before, somebody in your family got killed. So this is why you always grabbing on a pistol. This is why you always carrying a pistol. And they went out there to bring an expert witness that's going to have to run a bunch of tests on you and ask you a bunch of questions. Which, brings back to the aspect that, most of us don't talk to the police. Most of us don't talk to any of these people. That's why we always getting slandered. You know what I'm saying? Because if you don't talk, then you can't even defend yourself, honestly. So what I'm basically saying to you is that you have to open up your mouth and explain to some degree why you are carrying a pistol. It don't sound right, do it? But they know in these streets that there's other guys running around with pistols that ain't playing, shooting guys up. They know that we ain't just out here grabbing pistols for no reason. Because there's such things called PTSD, and PTSD can happen to those in the army, can happen to those that work for the police officers. Majority of us is running around here with PTSD. It's just the experience of going through something with guns. The loud noise can give you PTSD. So the proper way of defending all these things is by showing the psyche, showing that you've been through some things in life that when you see a gun or a hair gun, you're going to grab a gun. And believe it or not, like, they won't lock you up. It's almost impossible to lock you up. You know what I'm saying? Because if you can show that you have PTSD, that means you just a product of your environment. You know what I'm saying? And it's kind of like too complicated in effects that a federal court could have made a ruling so long ago while you was in state court saying like, yo, if you ever get caught with a pistol again, it's going to be a federal charge because you convicted for selling drugs, or you convicted for catching assault, or you convicted for whatever. So I did beat a case like this because my homeboy couldn't read. And his public defender was rushing him through the system. And I was like, hold on. I kept writing her like, yo, do you do this all the time? Did you ask this man, could he read or write? Did you ask this man what he been through in life? Have you ever asked him if he been shot before? Like, why is he carrying his pistol? Everything has an explanation. So, when it comes to these explanations, you got to give one. A lot of times we be afraid to talk. We be afraid to speak because where we come from is mum's the word. But that ain't helping nobody. Mum's the word ain't helping no one. You must understand the knowledge, know how to use the knowledge, know how to use your mouthpiece so you can get yourself out of trouble. It's the only way. Or you don't find yourself keep copping out, keep doing 5 years, come home, parole, right back in there again, parole violation, new one, 5 years, 10 years. A recurring theory. But 922G is basically above and beyond the heads of the average urban dude, He don't understand that shit. He probably don't even remember when he got sentenced and they told him that he couldn't carry no firearms again. So, for all the brothers who asked me to do this, 922G is kind of weak, honestly. It's not that strong. It's just a blanketing tool that they use to catch people and bring people to the higher ups. You know what I mean? It's how you graduate, to be honest. But the more I study, the more I find loopholes, right? So the more you study, the more you will find what? Loopholes. Well, I told myself, man, I give myself a little break. For anybody who didn't hear me, never heard me before, for any people who was waiting, I'm sorry to keep you waiting. I got a lot of work to do. But I'm going to close this up, man. Just remember, you catch a 922G case. It's important to go back into the beginning when you first got sentenced. It's important for you to let the judge know about your struggles with reading and writing or with PTSD. Do your case law studies, man. There's many cases on this too. You know what I'm saying? I definitely spanked a case like this before. It could be done. And I ain't the only one could do it. Trust me. So I'm going to tap back into you as a jailhouse lawyer. This is Reladon. We're going to get back into this. Y'all stay strong. 1.